Hello everyone, welcome to BizzTalk World Talk Show presented by ClickAway Creators. Today we have Mr. Prashant Srivastava with us. Mr. Srivastava is helping businesses compete and be productive, survive and thrive in these difficult times especially. His laser-sharp inferences from his W.E Matter model, which is well-being and AMP, and of course engagement model, and from the AI to ML-driven algorithms enable CEOs and CHROs to take precise actions that can improve business and businesses' performance in just 2 quarters. That's the proven algorithm that he has. He's also been associated with so many organizations. He's been guiding so many ventures and managers and head of several departments as well across the industries. So that was something that I picked point from what I understood about his profile. But without wasting much time, let me introduce you to the man himself. Hello, Mr. Srivastav. How are you?
Hello. Good. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Pleasure
Thank you
being
very
with
much
you.
for thank you very much for joining us. It's our pleasure to have such an eminent personality like you towards our session. All right. So, Mr. Srivastav, I tried my level best to cover, things about you, but I know as you have such great experience with you, I'm no one to cover, your entire journey. So it would be great if we can have something for our viewers in your own words, like if you can brief us about your journey so far.
Well, I think I've been lucky throughout, and I had opportunities that I didn't think I will have, and I was born in an academician family. Both of my parents were professors of political science, and I did my engineering. Came to Bombay thinking that I'm going to be an engineer. But I was fortunate that somebody guided me to take CHE, and I managed to somehow, it seems CHE those days made some alpha beta errors, and they somehow selected me. So I managed to get to IIM-A, passed out of that, and then was fortunate to work for a boutique consulting firm that was focused on India entry strategy. So given that this was a French firm, given that at an early age and stage of life, I can't say advising because the guys on the other side of the table were too big to be advised, but I was kind of perhaps bringing information and knowledge of the Indian market to the table. But as a result, I got to interact with the who's who of the corporate world in the West. And for me, it was a lot of learning, right? I don't know if they learned enough from me or not, but I learned a lot from them because I got to interact with Mr. Haworth of Haworth Office Systems, Mr. Michelin of Michelin Tires, and so on and so forth. And it was huge learning on how they drove their journey and the journey of these companies from a rubber product company to automotive tires, etc. From a garage of Haworth to where he started as a carpenter to a multi-billion-dollar, multi-country operations. Huge learning from there. Huge learning from at least about 100 clients that we worked for. And then I worked for Tata Strategic Management Group, got to work with leaders in Tata Group and leaders outside Tata Group.
Mm-hmm.
And in India and Middle East and South Asia. And again, there was huge learning. We did a lot of work on corporate governance and family managed businesses in various countries. Again, very serious learning. And then somehow from strategy, I moved to employee engagement.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think now I can say that, it was a well thought out move because strategy consulting was dying and people consulting was going up, etc., etc. Well, not really. It didn't happen that way. Somebody from Atlanta called me, some search firm, and said, they've been hired by Gallup to look for the India head, or the country manager for India. And that's I wasn't 40 then, so this whole thing of CEO at 40, etc., etc., or before 40 was in my mind. So actually, that drove me to join Gallup. But once I joined Gallup, I realized that why companies, when we advise companies on strategy, we had you know huge standing ovation at the boardroom, but only 50% strategies got implemented, and 50% did. And we could never figure out why some people are able to implement and why some people are not able to implement till I joined Gallup. And I realized that, what, change management and a new strategy calls for change management succeeds only if 70% of the employees are engaged. Succeeds only if most of your leadership team is aligned with the transformation, the new strategy, and the CEO's agenda. Right? Now, this, as Danny Kahneman, who got a Nobel Prize in 2002, explained, that human decision making is not rational, it's emotional.
That's right.
Right? But to my utter surprise, and I guess to the utter surprise of at least some of the audience, would be that in 1750, Bernoulli designed this principle of 100% rationality, and until 2002, all management sciences were based on 100% rationality theory. And that really explained me the difference between those who implemented the strategy and who did not implement the strategy or could not implement the strategy. Right? And companies who succeed and companies who fail. Right? And Fortune 500 companies who continue, it's a known fact that every 25 years only 20% of the Fortune 500 companies continue, 80% drop off. And they don't just drop off, they disappear. They either acquired or they are bankrupt. And the difference, leadership development happens in all the Fortune 500 companies and more. Right? Money is not a problem for Fortune 500 companies. No, that's a problem for people like us. Right? When we need money, nobody gives us money. And those who don't need money, everyone is after them. So this was very interesting. When I was dealing with Mr. Hayward Senior, who was 85 years old in 97, he said, no, it was completely debt-free company, 100% owned by the family. And we asked him over lunch as to why. He said, when I needed money, nobody gave me money. Now, when I don't need, everyone wants to give me money, and I don't want to take it. So anyway, jokes apart, financial resources for these successful companies is not a problem. They invest huge amount of money in leadership development, right? Challenge is emotional connect. That's where employee engagement comes in. And then I continued in that domain. I also expanded the business of Gallup into customer engagement, also leadership development, and we managed to grow about 6 folds in 5 years in terms of revenue. And then anyway, Gallup decided to change its strategy globally. And I left Gallup and I joined Aon Hewitt, and I was managing engagement and culture practice for Asia Pacific. And I learned a lot from them as well. And because one had the opportunity of implementing across. So you had performance management experts, leadership experts, compensation experts. So you could post engagement go for the holistic implementation. And post which I got to work as a group HR head of a very large conglomerate where we had 32 businesses. And I had the opportunity of implementing everything end to end. So engagement went up from 52 to 82% across the group. We had a lot of awards for different companies in the group. And all this gave me huge opportunity to keep researching because huge amount of data, huge amount of implementation and the outcomes and correlations and regression and all kinds of analysis I could do with this data. And that led to significant body of research, which then I have assimilated and compiled into the W.E Matter model, well-being and engagement matter model, which is now the only multi-generational model in the world.
Mhm.
Because the Gallup and Aon Hewitt both are fantastic models. I've learned everything from them, but they were models of early 90s when I started working,
Mhm.
right? And there are some other models which are popular only in countries like India and Middle East. They're not even popular in US, where their parent is sitting.
Mhm.
And these models were created in 1969 when I didn't start going to school. None of them have invested in the model, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of investment between 1969 and 1994 in those 25 years.
Mhm.
But last 25, 30 years, there's been no investment.
Mhm.
So that has created a void which we thought of filling. So globally, ours is the only engagement and well-being model that was designed in 21st century. Because early 90s, most of the Gen X was in college, Gen Y was in school, and Gen Z was not born,
Yeah.
right? And internet came into being for commercial use in US in 92, right? In India in 94, 95. But those days there was no content on the internet.
Yeah.
LinkedIn came into being in 2005. Looks like it always existed.
Yeah. That's
Facebook
right.
appears to exist before LinkedIn, but reality is it came into being in 2008,
Mhm.
right? Social media on mobile came in 2012, right? Looks like, we were born with mobile, but that's not the case.
That's right.
That's not the case. And therefore, the way people work, the way people act, react, right? Could you have thought about interviewing me over the Zoom call 3 years ago,
I don't think so. Because it seems like an impossible thing, of course.
right? And 3 years ago, you would have said that, no, I'll come to your office, I'll bring my camera, or you please come to my office, my studio. That's how interviews happen.
That's right.
Today, Zoom interviews, now somebody who's joining the workforce today will say that, no, is there any other way of interviewing,
Mhm.
right? So a lot has changed, these models didn't change. So therefore, we've completely metamorphically changed these models and created a brand new model, which we can use to predict performance. Nobody else
Mhm.
can. In the world, nobody else can, only we can.
Mhm.
We can predict performance, we can predict attrition, and we can prescribe action plans. Again, nobody else in the world does that. They just give you that this is the problem at the most. Otherwise, they give you the data, you figure out the problem.
That's right.
But we figure out the problem, and this is entirely algorithm driven and completely through our digital platform. Because as a group CHRO, I felt that when we did survey, the results will come after, let's say, a month or two, and then the action planning will take a couple of months, and the business will lose interest.
Yeah.
Now we've done something that in 48 hours you have everything: your reports, your scorecards, your dashboards, your action planning portal, everything, right? Pre-populated action planning portal. So that you know, and why did we do this? To make money. I'm not saying we're saints here. We want to make money. We
That's right.
want to have revenue and profits and valuation and everything. But that was not the objective. That's a byproduct.
Mhm.
The objective was that we wanted to work for 1,000 companies in India, because these big companies are focused on big clients.
Mhm.
They can pay a lot of money. The smaller companies can't pay that much money, and therefore we have digitized everything
Mhm.
so that the
Mhm.
cost of delivery is reduced. And therefore, these no. So I'm culprit myself, because when I was with Aon Hewitt and Gallup, I created strategies only to cater to the top end of the market, the creamy layer of the market. I didn't go to smaller companies because there was no money there,
That's right.
right? So we changed the delivery model to make sure that they become attractive,
Mm-hmm.
or at least they don't become unattractive. And if we do that, on a rough calculation, if 1,000 companies employ 1,000 employees, we'll be impacting million employees,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we'll be impacting 5 million lives, including their family members, right? And
That's
if you
right.
just say that, the average revenue of these 1,000 companies is 1,000 crores, and do some small bit of maths, in our experience, the companies who engage their employees and quantify,
Mm-hmm.
they have a 30% higher revenue growth compared to peers, right?
That's right.
So if
Okay.
you apply that 30% growth and do a little bit of math, uh, these companies can deliver three uh, 3 lakh crores of extra production of goods and services,
Mm-hmm.
which adds to the GDP.
Mm-hmm.
And if you divide that number with the current GDP, it gets to 1.48%,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you're talking of 1.5% GDP growth, and you know that if not we, if these companies can deliver 1.5% additional GDP growth, what will happen to the country and the job creation and everything else? That's our purpose. That's our vision. That's our motivation, and not just mine, the entire team. So we're working for that. And yes, we will make a lot of money. We will have a lot of valuation, because who else works for 1,000 companies, right? And then,
That's
since
right.
our model is global, and since our platform is globally the best now, we benchmark the top 3 platforms in the world, and what we've created is better than them, right? So we are now also planning to go global,
That's
right?
wonderful.
And we are planning to largely focus on uh, largely focus on emerging markets, but we're definitely also going to focus on US,
Fair enough.
because you know, as I was telling you that during my India entry days, I learned a lot from my clients, and I continue to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And if we don't work for the best, then we won't learn. And therefore, it is important that while you serve the emerging markets, you learn from the most developed market. So
That's right.
that's my journey. And I'm part of this organization that we have created, and this organization is part of me, and hence the two journeys are actually quite integrated.
That's very well put, Mr. Srivastava. I'll be honest with you. I mean, I have done so many sessions right now, online and offline. I've been part of so many discussions. It's the first time that I'm sitting so quiet since so long, and it's just a big smile on my face. And I was just trying to connect all the dots the way you were explaining your journey. I mean, I thought that millennials are the one we have seen the changes and adopted the changes, but it's people like you who have really seen the changes. I mean, I'm talking about 70s and then 80s and then 90s and then 20s and now this 2021, when we are seeing now the pandemic and then post-pandemic situations. I mean, it's not yet over, but in a sense, post-pandemic situations. So you've really seen the journey, and it's quite a journey. I mean, to understand. I hope our viewers are really enjoying this session. I'm personally enjoying it. Um, on the go, I mean, we were talking about you also talk about employees in your bio and in your journey. um, First thing first, I would like to address that your thought is all about value creation. I mean, the way you said that revenue is the byproduct. It's like you order a pizza, so your pizza is value creation, and the oregano and the chili flakes are the revenues that you're getting. So for the young generations, that's how you put it. And if moving further, I won't waste more time on this. I have another question for you, a random one. Why do you think the great employer awards have lost their credibility amongst employees and prospective employees? If you can throw some light on this.
So what has happened is that awards have become commercial objectives, right? For those who give awards, that's a source of money,
Mhm.
right? And for those who receive awards, uh, no, that's their final end objective. So as a result, the companies who give awards, they have to give out more and more awards,
Mhm.
right, to make more and more money,
Mhm.
because that's their business. Awards is their business, and therefore, what has happened is they do a small sample size of employees, and they do audit, an HR audit or a culture audit. Again, no, since they are going to be doing HR audit or culture audit for some 400-500 companies, they
Mhm.
do not have so many experts to do the audit. So they deploy some management trainees or even graduate trainees, BBAs, etc., to do audits.
Mhm.
Now imagine a BBA and an MBA, fresh MBA, evaluating the HR processes of a company and evaluating a CHRO. How will that CHRO feel? And on top of it, and how much they know that they can really evaluate. And on top of it, as a result, what happens is that the awards become a little random.
Mhm.
And therefore, when the employees look at those awards, their own employees, they're
Mhm.
surprised.
Yeah.
They're surprised that, my company is a great employer, or, best workplace or whatever. So
Mhm.
they're surprised. And therefore, there's no sanctity.
Mhm.
Why should the awards be done? To attract and retain talent. Now, if I'm not looking at who won the award or who did not before joining, if and after joining, if I'm not excited about the fact that the company is kind of certified as best workplace, then what's the use? Except,
Mhm.
it is self-satisfying,
Mhm.
right? So we said, how do we change this? And it's not us actually. I shouldn't take the credit. So a lot of CHRO friends told me, "Ki Prashant, this is what is happening. So the better employers and the worse employers, they are all in same basket,
Mhm.
right? It's become a commercial activity. So can you do something about it? Because now you have a new model, you have the new tools and everything. So can you do something about it?" So we said, okay, let's look at it. And we said, we will not do any kind of audit.
Mhm.
There will be no audit, no subjective elements.
Mhm.
This award is not meant for the board of directors or for magazines. Yes, as a byproduct, it will go to the board of directors. Yes, it will be published in a magazine.
Mhm.
But the real reason is it reflecting the employee's opinion? And we said, no, no, this 0.5% and 5% sample size and 80% reliability, or 70% reliability or 95% reliability, 100% of the employees should have the chance of participating. If
Mhm.
the HR processes are good, people will say they are good. If they're bad, they'll say it is bad. Why should an auditor say good or bad?
Mhm.
Right? Let the beneficiary say good or bad. So that's what we've done to the awards. 100% by the employees for the employees, right? And I hope that the better companies will participate, and eventually, as we go, this will perhaps be the best award in the world. This year we launched it in India. Next year we're planning to launch in a few more countries,
Mhm.
and it's primarily because this became a business.
Mhm.
What we are saying is, for us, awards is not a business. For a lot of companies, we're doing it free.
Mhm.
A very large companies, since we have to cover 100% employees, we're just covering the server cost and the bandwidth cost of doing the survey.
Mhm.
We're not making any money out of this. This is free. This is philanthropy. This is addressing the employee's choice, giving voice to employees, right? Uh, our business is using engagement to drive productivity and performance. We'll
Mhm.
make our money there. We're not an award company.
That's right.
right? And that's the difference between us and an award company.
Mhm.
An award company has to make money from the award,
Mhm.
and therefore it can never be unbiased.
Yeah,
Whereas, you need organizations who don't make money from awards, and therefore they can be unbiased. And no, we'll be
that's right.
not taking any sponsorship, nothing, right? The events will be funded by the people who want to participate in the event,
That's right. That's
right?
right.
The entire cost of award is being funded by us, except for very large companies where they will pay for small variable costs that we'll have to incur.
Mhm. Mhm.
Right? So we need more organizations like that who do not have vested interests in giving awards, who would create quantitative awards,
Mhm.
which are beyond doubt. Now, today you give me 2 crores. If you're the company, you give me 2 crores. I can't make you the Employees' Choice Award because whatever your employees are saying, that's the score. How can I change that score?
That's right.
Right? I can't. Now, if you want to change that score, please go and engage your employees. If you engage your employees, your productivity will go up, your performance will go up, your business will go up, because the way we want you to engage your employees, that leads to performance.
Mhm. Mhm.
So that's
That's
what a lot of
very well put.
organizations should do, not just us.
Mhm.
And all these conventional award giving companies, then we're small, we're the only company trying to do this. But
Mhm.
if a lot of organizations move to quantitative awards based on employee voice, then these award giving organizations will hopefully lose sheen.
That's right. That's again very well put. I mean, it's the beauty of the words that you have with you. I mean, it's really mesmerizing for me at least. I really lose my questions that comes into my mind. Having said that, Mr. Srivastava, if I may object on one thing, if I won't say object, I would
Yes,
say if I can put my
there should be objection. There should be
put
it
my
can't
in
be one point of view. It has to
yeah
be multiple
put my
points of view.
basically like I'm no one to object to. I mean, in that sense, I mean, in terms of in reference to the experience that you have and that I have, but still to put my insights on this. I mean, even in BizTalk. So if I talk about BizTalk as a whole organization, we do these sessions. We try to make it a content-driven platform with names like you joining us for this, and there is Diane Majors and then Nate Brown and all these individuals, great personalities, great names joining us for the conference. It's all about the conference. And in this conference, we also have an award ceremony. Now, that's a different perspective, what sort of award ceremony it is. But I believe what you said is the major thing that I can get out of this is the motive behind the award should be very pure. It should be very pure. It should be very value creative. It should be all towards for the individual who is, trying to pursue that award, who is putting himself all into it for the nomination process, for the jury members, for everything. So if we work towards that, then that makes sense. If you're really selling the award, if you're really just throwing up the award to anyone who is giving some money to you, then I guess it that creates the thing that you were saying. I mean, I'm with you on that part. But on the other part, I would say several organizations do charge for their things and their stuff, the bare bone that you mentioned. That could be for their survival, that could be for their existence. But on the longer go, I mean, they must be thinking for some change in that. And if any one of these individuals is listening to this, I want them, if they're not thinking about this, then start thinking about this, well, because it's going to change now very soon. It's like a bubble that's growing up. Uh, and it's going to, I guess, bubble off very soon. That's what I believe. That's what my take is. I hope you also would stand with this fact.
100%, 100%. And I'm not saying ours is the only methodology. All I'm saying is exactly what you said, is that awards can't be influenced. Awards can't be for money.
Yeah.
Awards, uh, and therefore giving awards cannot be any company's profession.
Hmm.
If it is, then such companies should not exist. right? You're doing your business, you're doing your biz talks, you're doing your event management and all of that. And by the way, you're giving awards and you have a methodology which cannot be questioned, which is
Mhm.
beyond doubt. That's fine. The methodologies can be different.
So it's all about the methodology, the algorithms that you have, the backbone that you have for the process. If that's right, then everything is cool.
Absolutely.
Or
Absolutely. And no, to the extent possible, make it quantitative.
mhm,
Because wherever it is qualitative, it sooner or later, becomes a problem, right? Then in certain organizations, what happens is, who not for profit organization also, what happens is that the awards um become a method of pleasing people. So there's no money involved, but you want to get some favors from someone and you start giving awards. So, while awards are extremely important, because if some good work has been done, it has to be recognized,
that's right.
right? It has to be recognized. But if, the way the awards are driven are for some vested interest, financial or non-financial, then they start losing meaning. And
Mhm,
then, you know, any kind of employer award that you're talking of, if employees do not respect it,
mhm,
then it's gone, right?
that's
Now,
right.
for example, the CHRO told me that no, he got an award from a certain company, which is very big in awards. They're making huge amount of money in awards, and he put that magazine which published the list of winning companies in the folders of the board, directors on the board, when they had the board meeting. And one director pulled it out and flipped through it, and he said, "Oh, you got this award. In the morning, I was at the Mumbai airport. That idli wala there also was displaying this logo, right? And this is real incidents, real incidents. Now, that
I guess
idli,
I know what you're talking about now. I mean, when you said the example, I know what you're talking about now.
now that idli wala has closed down because of pandemic. But otherwise, after I heard this, I went to airport next time, and I really, I mean, I never have time to eat idli at the airport, but I went to eat idli, and I saw that logo and monogram on the idli wala shop, and then I was just talking to the people serving me
Mhm.
to check out if they are really very happy, but they were not. They were not, right? But this company has this habit of certifying anybody and everybody. So you pay a fee and you get certified. So
Now I get it what you're talking about. I mean, precisely, I know the word that you're talking about. But we cannot really mention it. But I guess our viewers, if they're
absolutely.
aware of the award ceremonies, they know what we guys are talking about right now. All right. It has been a great discussion as of now. I mean, more of a discussion. We all are. I mean, I hope our viewers, when they look at this video, they're also mesmerized with your words and your knowledge from every angle. My last question would be from this: what would you advise to the young professionals in your industry or across the industry, if I may ask?
Yeah. So anybody in any profession, I would advise three things. Go after excellence and money will follow.
Mhm,
So if you go after money, you'll neither get money in the long run. In the short run, you may, but in the long run, you may not. And the excellence for the youngster could be personal excellence. For a person like me, it could be social excellence, societal excellence, right? Excellence for the entire society. But go after the excellence, money will follow. At least that's what happened with me. And the second thing is frugality. I'm not saying that don't spend money, but be frugal. Uh, it helps. No, because that creates habit. If you are not frugal and if you waste organizations' money, you will be in trouble. And if you are frugal at home, also, you will save enough for a rainy day, like pandemic, and you'll not be in trouble. The third thing is humility. So, when somebody asked me when I was in the last job that, you are president, group president of HR and blah, 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 I said, see, there's no difference between you and me, right? Uh, let's face it, you are also a servant and I'm also a servant. And as R. Gopalakrishnan would put it, that when you start your own business, you're servant to many. When you're employed, you're servant to only one, your employer, whether it is the government or an Indian business or a US board, but you're a servant. So all of us are servants. Even as entrepreneurs, we are servants. Servants to clients, servants to GST, servants to income tax, servants to all of them, right? Servants to politicians. Uh, and therefore, whether I am called officer or I am called president or CEO, shouldn't make a difference,
That's right.
right? So humility is extremely important. So excellence, humility, and frugality.
That's the last three words that I guess our viewers would have, with them to grow up in their respective genre, in their respective industry. I hope you really liked this chat, Mrs. Srivastava, because I really loved it. As I mentioned, it's the first one where I spoke a little less, actually very less, and I was just all learning, and my ear was all for you for this. And I'm really happy that I was your host for this session. So thank you very much, Mr. Srivastava, for joining us for this session. It was our pleasure. It's our pleasure to have you on board with us. And for the future, we of course look forward to having a chat with you again in the future on some other trending topics in the international business industry, and of course for your genre as well. And for our viewers, finally, if you like this chat with Mr. Srivastava, I hope you did, then please click on that like button and like this video, share this video, and also subscribe to ClickAway Creators YouTube channel to appreciate what we do, and you have more coming in from industry leaders like Mr. Srivastava. This was Sagar for BizzTalk World, signing off. Thank you very much.